So together with the Convene editors, we're recording on site at Convening Leaders, and in this special episode, we'll share our impressions so far from the event. It's a different setting for us, so my question to you is, what did you see so far? And Barbara, let's start with you. I know you saw some cool stuff.
Yeah, one thing that caught my eye, my ear, was that is in the main stage presentations, there were two speakers. One of them, her background was really history, and then the other guy was from the Google business, very technical. And they both, I thought, said some of the same things. And I feel like AI over the last year has just been like coming in from all directions. So the fact that these two speakers were giving like really some very similar kind of a pathway through it, I thought was really interesting. And like the first thing was that you should consider, like you should not try and learn everything about AI, but that you could take it and you could take what you're already good at and help enhance what you do. You don't have to like go all over the map, but you can actually use it. And then I also loved how both of them said not to fear job displacement if you are paying attention and using it to do your job better. And then the third thing, and this was maybe the most exciting thing because it talks about our humanity, they were just talking about how we have an opportunity, since AI learns from us, the more we interact with it and with each other with kindness, compassion, empathy, and decency, those AI systems are going to reflect that back. I thought that both of those preeminent experts were saying that. I thought, well, this is something that everybody should really be talking about and know about and really work on.
This is Kurt Wagner, digital editor, by the way. I thought the embracing the humanity was also very interesting because you don't necessarily think about that when you're thinking about working with the machine, but they are learning. AI is learning from what we show them or why it a lot of times picks up fake news, because it's being fed that kind of stuff. It's interesting that would teach compassion, that we could teach compassion and selflessness and things like that to a machine.
I loved what you said, echoing it when they both said that we shouldn't fear job displacement. That made my heart warm up a little bit because I think that's in the back of everyone's head, no matter what you do. If we learn how to work with it, our jobs will be safe. I just came out of a session with young event professionals. I believe everyone in the room who participated was under the age of 30. And what's interesting, I kind of came in the middle of it, so I missed the start, but everyone was going on the room and sharing their thoughts on how they're feeling about their generation and the next generation. They had to start each statement with either, I wish, I worry, and I wonder. And I tried to write a single one that I heard because I was looking for trends. There's a few trends that popped up, but one of the biggest is AI. Either wants or wishes to be able to work with it and maybe not against it, but there does seem to be a little bit of fear in that. But it's definitely top of mind for them too. So I thought that was really interesting. It just seems to be in general like the topic that is on the tip of everyone's tongue right now. I feel like we have so many sessions and demonstrations and examples of how to use AI for good and for the betterment of your career going on here.
Yeah. And I thought it was really striking. One of the speakers was saying, people talk about when AI would reach that moment of singularity, when machines become more intelligent than humans, that a lot of people had set that at like 2030, but that his prediction was that it was 2025.
Oh, that's like tomorrow.
And
a year away.
And it's like, so if AI is going to be that intelligent, it cannot be mean and scary. I mean, it cannot. It has
Can't be
to
Black
for good.
Mirror,
It has
Right.
to
the
be
scary
for
dog
good.
robots.
Right.
Yeah.
And the piece about not having your job taken over too, everyone has to stop saying I'm tired of hearing about AI and resisting learning about how to use it, because that's part of what the thing is. If you don't know how to use it, then you're more likely to not have a job.
I did have kind of a mindset shift during that talk when he was talking about how AI augments what you have. Because I was thinking, well, I actually like to think. That's one of the things AI kind of scares me, is like, don't take my favorite things away from me, which are writing and thinking. But it's like, no, it's not going to take that away. It's going to augment who you are. Because that's what AI is doing anyway. It's taking who we are and what all the data that we feed into it and mimicking us. So I thought, like, okay, that's a good shift for me.
Yeah, definitely. I like that positive outlook better than some of the other outlooks out there. I like to think it's a tool and not a takeover.
Yeah. And they did talk about AI's impact on the events industry too, a bit, like enabling advanced attendee matching and things like that maybe are a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Or time consuming.
And time consuming.
Yeah.
So, data analysis and things like that. I mean, we already use it for some data stuff, like for our surveys and things like that. We've done some things that would have taken forever, probably.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't sit and read through more than 800 open-ended answers and trying to find the common ground of those. So.
Right. Actually, during our COVID surveys, I did try to do those as
Well, that's what
just
you do.
reading them and trying to.
I made a little code and I would go through pages, and it was like, well, this is, the margin of error on me.
Oh yeah.
Creating a code and going through was very.
We did a lot of roughlies. It was roughly.
It was roughly
this many.
Well, I'm interested too in trying out some of the Project Spark tools that are debuting at this conference. One of them are the immediate takeaways after sessions, which we'll find in the app. So I'm eager to see how that matches up with what my takeaways were. And Holly Ransom did takeaways, analog takeaways. So it'll be interesting to see what the Project Spark takeaways are.
Like while she was emceeing, basically?
Yeah,
like
she just, on the fly. She listened and she said, here's 3 top-line takeaways. So it would be interesting to see what...
Holly's really smart, though.
Yeah, she's super smart. So I don't think AI is going to beat her, but it'd be interesting to compare them.
Right.
Well, like our main stage speaker for tomorrow said, AI is the past. And we're the future, so we keep on being the future. It's not AI that's going to lead us into the future, which I found very interesting.
Could you talk a little bit more about that?
We teach AI on what already happened until today, right? I mean, we're not teaching something of tomorrow. So we continue to create tomorrow, but AI summarizes the past for us and gives us. It analyzes it. Yes, it gives new versions of what already was, but it's based on what was, not the future.
What's going to be.
Yeah, and I'm sure that session tomorrow is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
It's like the next step almost from today's, right?
Yeah. It's a really good way to think of just your own experience as like you've experienced the past. Like tomorrow is a blank sheet.
And the humans, we are, like people are driving the tomorrow.
The other thing that I'm excited about, which was launched this morning, is the Advancing Women in Business Events. And it's a joint project by Business Events Sydney and PCMA Foundation. And I loved what Lynn Lewis-Smith, the CEO of BE Sydney, said. She said, "This is our moonshot." Like, this is an opportunity for the business events industry to try and understand why the gap is so large, because it's larger in the business events industry than the surrounding industries. Like, the gap between men and women leaders is larger within the business events industry than it is within, banking, like almost any industry.
Which is interesting because there's so many women. I mean, women
exactly
in the business events industry.
It's like 70% predominantly women globally. In the US, it's 86%, yet 20% of the leadership are women. And I won't get this exactly right, but there was only a 10% gap in male leadership and women leadership in the average of other industries. So it's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah. And so they're trying to understand why, in addition to all the things that socially and, that we know about, but they're also, they're creating interventions. Like, these are actions that we can take. And one of them is around mentoring and sponsorship, which, if there's not a lot of female CEOs, there's not going to be that one-on-one mentorship between CEO to... But I think it's going to be very exciting, and I was really just happy that PCMA and BE Sydney undertook this big project.
Yeah. Jen, you did that whole series about where you interviewed a lot of leaders.
Yeah, that just came to my mind because I was thinking, I wonder, it would be interesting, I haven't seen the report yet, but I wonder if they break it down by areas of the industry, because I know just anecdotally, I had a really hard time finding any research on how many women held executive leadership positions, and by that I mean either the CEO or general manager of a convention center or a venue, a major convention venue. And we found, we had to search long and hard because we did that series of featuring these women, and it's very obvious that they're in the minority. And a lot of them that we interviewed, I think, said that, it's been just like a old boys club for a really long time, and it's been dominated by males for such a long time. And a lot of them seemed to think that it was changing. A lot of them mentioned how important mentorship played, the role mentorship played by both women and men. And going back to the session I just came from, all of the takeaways from these young people, I think every other thing that they wish or wondered or hoped for looking ahead to the next generation of events, mentorship popped up over and over and over again. And they repeatedly said how they're looking for more opportunities and more spaces for mentorship. So I think that's something that's still,
that's great.
Hugely needed in this industry. And I noticed in the session it was a mix of men and women. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited to see what comes out of the report.
Yeah, I've noticed that at least the last two classes of 20 in their 20s, there were already leadership, people in leadership roles who were women in those classes, and being that young.
That's awesome.
Which I thought was pretty impressive and a good sign that it's moving forward.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that you're looking forward to tomorrow for our tomorrow's course to cover, but any sessions that are in your mind,
The Clintons? Anyone?
That's a big one. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
The Clintons?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Get there early, everyone who's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're here, get there early.
Yeah, I'm going to be excited just how the conversation is framed, because, because I know that the Clinton Foundation has a lot of events, but it'll just be interesting to see how they apply their experience to this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen them together. I've seen them speak separately, but I don't think I've seen them in conversation with one another on the same stage. So I think that'll be very interesting.
I personally am excited to go play with the puppies in the district. I've already stood by there once. And I think, remember last year, I think we saw one of the puppies get adopted.
Yep.
One of the CL attendees literally put the dog in her car and drove it home.
Yep.
So
Somebody from PCMA did the same thing.
oh, really?
Yeah.
What is the energy like over in the district?
Oh,
I
it's
haven't
fun.
been here since.
I haven't been there yet. Yeah.
You know, I think it's a beautiful space because it's very open and sunlit, like high ceilings. And when you walk in, it feels fun. It has a great energy. And I immediately walked in and saw people I knew from Travel Portland, love their team. And there's a lot of it feels like everyone's making a big effort to engage. It's not just a static trade show booth. Everyone has something going on. Marriott has something really interesting going on with Storycraft Lab.
Storycraft Lab.
Thank you.
Yes.
They have a really unique activation that I played with, and pretty much every single booth has something going on. So it's fun. Yeah, it's fun and engaging. Definitely not your average trade show for...
I also love the energy. And today we have happy hour, so it will be completely different energy during the happy hour.
Be energy
I'm sure.
boosting.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the conversations that you're having with speakers. I think it's really nice to have.
Yeah, today Sean Kanungo, that was great, and I'm sure his session tomorrow will be...
You were impressed with him today when you talked to him?
Yeah, I was. He's very high energy, and I think his message of innovation and boldness and reinventing yourself really is very timely for the industry. So thank you all for stopping by the Mashup Studio for this special episode. And to our listeners, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and until next time.